Hello.
We are doing color today. We're just gonna hop right on in here.
Yep.
We have a few cut changes that we're gonna make as well, but big color change.
We're excited.
Yay!
Little changing it up.
She's
She's making me think.
Yeah, giving her a big challenge. So we're gonna go along. She's gonna start off with the clippering, and then as she goes, she'll tell you what color she's using, what color my hair is, what our goal is.
Yep.
We're just gonna get started.
Let's do it. I have sectioned off Miss Shirley this morning, and I'm going to start with a 2 here with my, I think they call this Baba Bliss. You know, these are these fancy clippers, and I actually customize these this time.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, they kind of, you know, they make it a little more exciting for me every day when I have these clippers going. So I'm using a 2 all the way up to my my little line here from her short to her long undercut. And then we will go ahead and I will actually make it to a 1.5. So through just the bottom area through here. So I kind of like to do that for her to have a little bit, like this is where it gets kind of fuzzy, especially like, well, anyone really, but I feel like for the ladies especially, like it gets a little annoying there, you know? So I will go ahead and use my little T-trimmers now, and I will, we're gonna go a little higher around her here. She likes that. I also have a few other clients who like it also, who wear short hair like this. And I think they too like the clean, I think it just creates that like clean line around the ear. So if I could offer words of advice, obviously don't go for the gusto the first time around, but don't be afraid to go maybe a little more white wally than you think you might, you know, so because I do find that they end up liking that long term after the haircut. I always try to cut, you know, not just for today, kind of for tomorrow as well, you know, through the duration of the haircut. And I think little tips like this are helpful. So we are going to cut her and remain kind of in that little fun V that we have done in the past. Kind of start with my line there. If you need to use your comb as a guide, that's also a fine thing. Kind of an area where you can do that easily. And then she did say so sometimes I go like, oh, I can see her suntan line. So she did tell me go a little more. So you know what? I'm going to go a little more today.
I'll have more sun, you know.
Yes, right. So then you know you're taking it up a notch. Beyond that. Okay, everybody. So we are going to get to this coloring moment.
Some dishes mixed up here.
For sure. So Shirley runs to be like, yes, she has a little bit of lighter color through here, but through the back, she's definitely like a 5. And so what I tend to do, like today, I'm going to push it to I'm actually doing like 8 double ash on her. And although I should do 30 to try to get to her to an 8, I'm a little worried about her warmth. So I did only 25. So with that, that's only because I know it takes so much to get her through that red stage. So, because she's like got lightener on with 40 volume. So it's me being cautious. So guess what? Next time, if it's not as light as I want her, then I can just, the nice thing with this short type hair, you clip it off and you do it again. So, so 8A, double ash, actually 8A, 8A, and then, with 25 volume. And I'm just gonna, yes, she does have a little graying, and yes, I'm supposed to put a little bit of natural, but I have actually found with my color line, I like to use Rusk. I've also used, this is the normal Rusk, not the Rusk in 10. I have found actually that the ashes actually do a pretty good job at covering gray for people who tend to want to pull more warm. So if I'm able to not do 50% in for my hairdresser friends to understand that, I will push it slowly, you know, and surely just to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this here. And then I'm not going to do her like, I am going to go through, but we are going to heavily highlight her on top, because overall, we actually kind of had an inspiration of like a platinum blonde and doing like bleach on the scalp. My only fear is that I really should patch test her. And I know we've done like fix, like slices of Shirley's hair, of the blonde, which means that is on her scalp, but it's always, you know, incubated in that foil. So my concern was that the 40 volume would leave her possibly like we need to do it twice. And I, you know, some people's scalps, I'm just a little nervous with that. So we are just going to heavily highlight, and then I will probably put this color in between also so that she has an overall, you know, blended look there that way. And my game plan is she does want to be quite white. We want to be a lot blonder. So I will probably kind of vary a little bit between slicing and highlighting just a lot of it, because that way she'll get the overall difference.
Did she like it?
I know, it'll be fun. And then now we're gonna
do the bleach.
I like to section it off a little bit. She's gonna go to Mars.
Yeah. I can feel the toaster oven starting.
True. Actually, I don't want you to get too warm under the piece, but with that, it just is a good clean line moment.
Oh yeah, great.
To a different lightener today. Today I'm using REDKEN Flash Lift, which is it does have the bonder inside, and I am still using 40 volume on her, and I know some may go, oh my gosh, but I just find that this lightener does do a pretty good job if you're breaking through people who sit at, I'm going to try to do a little more room temperature with her today, that have a lot of that like red to break through. So in a good way, because I actually recommend, I think, this is not putting under the dryer. So we'll probably minimize that a little bit. Made it after all of our foils.
Oh my word, like 1,000 foils? I don't know.
There's a lot. We had a little extra long visit today, and I kind of consider myself a decently fast foiler, but with that, I just wanted to heavily highlight her to give her overall the most blonde without doing solid blonde on the scalp. So we made it. I did do a little alteration between a little thicker, some slicing, and then some fine as well. In her crown area, I tend to like to do like really fine ones. Actually, she was pretty dark, so that actually took me a long time back here. I like them fine highlights, like kind of baby-like thought, but like thinner sections in between, because I want it to lay down and lightly brush over the top of like her dark color. But so that way, otherwise, if you do slices, it's going to lay like a sheet over, and it does not look so good. So, anyways, in my opinion. And then up, what I kind of do is like once I start to go towards the face, like I always say my little headband area from ear to ear, then I worry about like if I want to pump up the volume and throw in, you know, inch thick slices, because on her she's not going to see that inch because the way the hair manipulates. Then I can't. I really didn't do an inch, but I did do a lot of slicing and in all up through that front area. And as well on these sides, as you can see, they're down. This too, I just took little fine ones until we start to cut to the top, and then I started taking a little chunkier ones, just so you guys can see.
Yay!
So,
Okay.
So I am going to take her. So now she's colored. She looks a little different, right?
Very different.
She is good. It's a little. She's like a whole new lady. So, anyways, what we're gonna do is I'm going to just take a little bit of this. Essentially, we're gonna kind of haircut wise, we're gonna just trim her in a good way. But we are gonna texturize real well here on the perimeter. She likes that. We have found that works real nice. And then kind of, I like to use the razor around this because it just gives such a nice, like softer little area. I use the Donald Scott little carving comb. Love that little ditty. So it's versatile. It has a little chunky. So on the bottom, I like to, you kind of do your cutting with the more solid side, and then I piece out more with the chunky side. So without taking off like a whole bunch of length. So she did request that we keep this a bit more at an angle. So I actually might take this little section slightly higher, more for an illusion, because you don't actually have too much hair to work with there. Right. There's not too much option there.
Right. A drastic change.
Right. And then here I'm gonna take my scissors. When we do so much coloring, which obviously we did a very heavy highlight today, I'm just gonna kind of leave her ends here a little bit more fuller, not so sparse. They already are because they're processed. So I tend to like either slightly point cut them and just kind of leave them. So I am just gonna do a little bit of right through there. So she wants a little bit of layering right through here. So I'm not gonna do it everywhere. And sometimes that happens with a haircut. You know, I'm pretty symmetrical and it's a little tricky for me to go like, they don't want that everywhere. But she likes a little layer here, but then we don't want a ton of layering right through here. So we're gonna just kind of customize and put a little bit where we want to. You're using some Kenra loops on her. We like that. And for her, especially like with shorter hair, sometimes, you know, you put it in places maybe that long hair wouldn't, which, you know, maybe right in the front to give that extra volume too. We've got the Nitro Memory Cream from Kenra.
I've been this blonde since I was about 6.
Really blonde?
I was,
That's
yes.
funny.
I was totally blonde, towhead.
Were you?
Yes.
But that's funny. So today I toned her with Redken shades, 9P, half 9P, and half 10 VV. And again, that was Redken shades. We were kind of debating, should we go cool on the blonde? But then because we had used that 8AA, it was still going to breed a little bit of warmth, even though I wish it wasn't. I wish, for me, I'd like a real cool, but with that, it's fine. It's okay. So I said to counterbalance that, we'd put a little bit of the cooler tones on the blonde in a good way. It's very much, it's desirable. I like it.
I like it too. Yes. Yeah, we have that little bit of depth through there, but yeah, overall,
Right? Little dry wax. Yep.
we love.
I do love it.
That's amazing. I feel like that's when even the color like really comes
For sure.
together, because it's like
Because it's so blended
yeah,
when nothing's in it,
yes.
and then when you throw that in there, she's a whole new lady.
I'm a whole new lady. I like it. I'm in disguise.
I told her she's not running from it. So we're at a good start.
I'm not going hell.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I think it'll be
It's
really
fun. It
It's
is
a
really
fun
fun.
change. So
I like it.
I hope that you enjoy it too. You know, it's just hair.
It
It's
is.
just fun to change things up every now and then.
We could like be a redhead next time or something. I was
Right?
kind of
We
thinking
could
that
go
with
crazy,
Salon. He'd give me
right?
options.
All right. Well, thank
All
you
right.
so much for watching.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.